Okay, last topic in we create the component use we taken the printing the variables and printing the object and printing the variables and objects and what variables objects and the array of objects you are printing, right? Good. See, today class, let me go for the use state hook. You create the one component for this one. Where you have to create the component? In SRC. SRC, I click on one new file. Just you can write the counter.jsx file. Counter.jsx file, you can take the counter.jsx file. The counter.jsx file. Good. See guys, you write the short form like React functional component export. React functional component what export. Then directly the return statement will come and default export will come and everything is come. This is like counter data here. You remove this div tag here. React fragment we can use as a React fragment. We return the code like this. What's the React fragment you return? See, I want to maintain one variable, counter variable. Want to maintain what? Counter variable. Counter variable means what? You click on the button when the counter increased. On click event should be triggered. Event on click event. On click event should be triggered when you click on the button. Counter should be increased. First time counter increased. Second time counter increased. Third time counter increased. Right? It means we need to maintain one variable, which is like keep on what? Updating the state value. Updating what? State value, right? Exactly. So yes, first let me create one button like the counter button. You create the button, just like how the button tag. They can go for the button. This is like what? Counter, what we can say is increment tag. So increment is a button, just you create one button. So yes, to maintain the data like when the component is re-rendered. See, you take in the normal variable is what? Name equal to something like last class you take in the other side. There's normal variable. Normal variable, first time data printed. First time what? Data is printed. First time data is printed. That's it, first time. Again, if you click on the data, like button, increment button, the value is not changed. There's a fixed data. What data is fixed data. See, this will be displayed. Normal variable can be displayed only one time when the component first time displayed. When the component is what? First time displayed. But now you are going to take what? Increment counter. Increment counter means what? When you click on the button, the value changed. The value is what? Changed. Again click the button, value changed. Again click the button, value changed. Again click the button, value is what? Changed, right? That is something like, the component should be re-rendered. The component is what? Re-rendered. The component should be re-rendered one time or multiple times, sir? Multiple times. But when the application, like, component is what? Re-rendered. Component is what, Amma? Re-rendered. When the component is re-rendered multiple times, then we need to maintain the value. But name equal results means what? When the component re-rendered, maintain the value only one time purpose. Why you give the normal variable guys. Normal variable like display the data only one time. But when you change the value like the component is re-rendered. The component is re-rendered means what? The value is not fixed. We get the value is what? Fixed. That's what guys. To maintain the value, even the component is what? Re-rendered. We use one hook like use state hook. What the hook come up? Use state. See guys, use state hook. You can take the variable like let just you can take the count variable. Like in taking the square bracket here, count variable. I need to update this count variable, set count method you can take. This is a set count. To maintain the value, you can go for the hook like use state hook. What the hook is use state. This is called use state hook. We'll maintain the variable like what variable is here? Count variable. Right? Maintain the variable is what? Count variable. And the count variable is updated by using what variable here? Set count method. Set count is a method. Set count is what? Method. The set count method is update what variable here? Count variable. Count variable, right? And this is called use state hook. Use state hook will maintain the data. Even the component is what? Re-rendered multiple times. Re-rendering means what? One time click it on, again value change. Again click it on, value change. It means value changing is nothing but what? Entire component is what? Re-rendered. The component is what? Re-rendered. That's all guys. That's like the just you can take the count variable, set count and what use state hook. Guys, use state hook we maintain the data. Here you can give the 0. 0 is initial value for the counter. Count initial value is how much here? 0. If you give the 10 means what initial value will be the 10. If I give the 0, count is how much guys initial value? 0, right? Good. Guys, when I click on the increment button, I click on the button. What event is triggered here? On click event is triggered. On click event is triggered, you write the function. What the function? Something like INC logic. The function name here, INC logic. See guys, let me write the logic like let INC increment logic something like that. You write the logic using arrow function. Right, the arrow function syntax is what? Arrow, before arrow is what? Argument, after arrow is what? Logic. What the logic tell me guys here? I'm just when I click on the increment button, what event is triggered? On click. What function called? What function is called? Increment logic function is called. The function of increment function. When we click on the increment button, on click event is triggered, increment logic executed. This is a logic. What the logic I'm writing using what arrow function. Then here what we should do, when we click on the button, counter should be incremented. Counter should be what? Incremented. The count is incremented. How to increment the counter? How to increment the counter? Using setter method. What is set method here? Set count, right? Then you can write what? Set count. Set count what? Count plus 1. That's all. So set count is what? Count plus 1. That's it. When we click on the increment button, what event is triggered here? On click event. What the function is calling? Increment logic. And this is called what? Arrow function. Is just incrementing the data using like setter method. Using what method? Setter method, right? Exactly. Yes, let me print that variable here. The counter value is like the counter value equal to, okay, you write this code using h1 tag, the counter value is, the counter value is what? Braces. Always you write the braces syntax. Tell me braces of what? Count. That's it. Yes, enough. Wait, this is called counter function, and this is a variable to maintain the value. Even the component is what? Re-rendered. Use state hook is what? Use state hook is maintain the value. Maintain what? Value when the component is what? Re-rendered. Because when the value incremented, value decremented, keep on what? The value changing, right? To maintain that value, you can go for what to come up? Use state hook. Yes, go for the app.jsx. Last class we written the data printing, something like that. Today let me go for the what data is here? Counter. Yes, click on the counter. Counter is imported. Please cross check the counter is imported or not. That's it. Simply can run the project. How to run the project? npm run dev. npm run dev. Right? Good. npm run on what? Dev. Okay, that's it, guys. npm run dev. The project is started. You can take this variable like localhost. Yeah, tell me guys, localhost 5173. You check that value, guys. We got the button. This is the button here we have. The counter value is how much now? 0. Initial value is how much here? 0. Right? That's for 0. Hey, no, sir, I want counter value. Initial value is 10. No problem. Where we need to change, guys, here? Use state hook 10. Then the counter initial value is how much you will get. Just you can check it. Initial value is how much now? 10. That is like use state initial value. So that is what value? Initial value. So, okay, let me make the initial value 10 is good or 0 is good. Okay, fine. Let me make the 0, right? Good, 0. Hey, you click on what button? Increment. You click on the increment, 1 is there. Component is re-rendered first time. Component is re-rendered second time. Like that, use state counter. Use state is a predefined function. Use state is what? Predefined function. That is we can call it as a hooks. We are calling it as a hooks. All the predefined functions, see your functions you can call your function, that's it. But predefined functions we can call it as a hooks. Okay, what is a hooks here? Hooks are predefined functions, providing functionality, that's it. Use state hook will maintain the state. Maintain the state. State is value. What value? Counter value. Use state will maintain the state of the component, even the component is what? Re-rendered. Hey, you understood that statement, right? Re-render. That is very important statement. The component is what? Component is what? Re-render. Re-rendering means what? First time 1. Second time when I click 2. 2 should be updated in the browser. 2 should be updated on what? That is component re-rendering. Again click means again re-render. Again what? Re-render. Again click, again what? Re-render. But that's it, guys. That is called increment. The counter increasing or good. That is called button. Counter is what increasing, right? Good. Sir, you tell me the counter decrement value. Decrement button what you are saying? Yes, yes, you can go for the decrement button. Tell me how to add the decrement button. This is like increment button. Next button is what? Decrement button. You write the simply decrement button. When we click on the button, what event is triggered? On click event is triggered. What logic you want to execute? Decrement logic. DEC logic and some method you can write. Then you write the logic. Tell me what the logic here. Letter decrement logic, and you write what function? Arrow function, and you can write the logic. The set counter. Set count of what? Counter minus what? That's all. When we click on the decrement button, what event is triggered? On is all about the JavaScript, arrow function, JavaScript, on click, JavaScript, function calling, JavaScript, all about what? JavaScript. That's it, guys. Decrement logic, right? Then the count value is automatically increased and automatically what? Decreased. Now see guys, how many buttons you got here? 2 buttons. Initial value is how much here? 0. If you want to make the initial value 10 now, okay, let me make this is a 10. Now you can click on the increment. See guys, it's for going for what? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 like this. If you click on what? Decrement is coming like 11, 10, 9. Like. So you cut it down. 2 buttons. Then you do one thing, you create one more button, reset button. So something increasing, something decreasing, right? You write what button? Reset. When we click on the reset button, the counter becomes 0. The counter value becomes what? 0. Tell me the code for that. Button, copy paste. Then here you can change the logic, reset button. On click event is there. This is called decrement logic, reset logic, reset logic. You can copy this one and you can go for the let, that variable you can take. Let reset logic equal. This is a arrow function name, that's all. Then you write the arrow function logic. Put the logic here, put the brackets and put this one here. That's it. When we click on the reset, what event is triggered? On click. On click event is triggered, then what logic executed here? Reset logic. Reset logic means these are the reset logic, then we can make it as what? Set count. Set count is what? 0. That's all. There's no, you simply can make it as 0, right? That's it. Whatever the count is there. We don't need to write the count equal count 0 like that. Just we can write what? Set count of what? 0. Setter method is updating the value, that's all. Use state guys, one variable, one setter method, that's it. Use state hook will maintain the data using one variable and we update the data using what method? Setter method. Okay, that's it guys. Now how many buttons you got? 3 buttons. So you can click on the refresh. I think you got the 10. Why you got the 10? Initial value is how much you given? 10. Let's click on what? Incremental. Click on what? Decremental. Click on what? Reset. Reset you are making what? 0, right? Again incremental. Again decremental. Like this you can write incremental. Again decremental. Again reset. So you got it done? That is called use state hook. Use state hook will maintain the data even though component is what? Re-rendered multiple times. Re-rendered means value is what? Updating. Value is what? Updating. Yeah, value is updating, right? Good. See guys, that is called value is updating. Value is what? Updating. Value is what? Updating. Increment, decrement, reset, something like that. Value is what? Updating, right? Good. You see guys, this value is incrementing, this value is decrementing, this value is what? Decrementing and what? Incrementing, right? I told DOM, right? What is a DOM? DOM is like, tree of objects. One object, tree of object. Tree of objects. Here we have the buttons code H1 tag, so multiple objects are there. Is one object, multiple objects are there. In the browser, we have the multiple objects. Now I click on the increment button. I click on what? Increment button. I click on what button? When we click on the increment button, guys, what happened? Entire DOM will be, should not be recreated. Bro, you click on the increment button. You click on increment button means what? Only this part should be changed. And this should be reloaded, should not be reloaded. Should not be reloaded. Button should not be reloaded. Only what should be reloaded? Number. Number should be reloaded. See guys, you are writing the JavaScript HTML, that is all like mixed process. The problem is like HTML, JavaScript, CSS you're writing, that is all about too much, the code is wasted. The reason is in the browser, assume that browser some data is there. You click on the JavaScript buttons are there. On click event is triggered. When on click event is triggered, we are executing some logic basically. We execute some what? Logic. When we click on the, like say hello button, it displays the message. Entire DOM will be, recreating. Entire what? DOM will be recreated. Understood? Put some brain required for that to understand that lines. What required no? Brain. So the brain cover. If you have, just open it and try to understand. Normal HTML JavaScript code, we have the page data. When I click on one button, the value is updating in the Java. I'm not talking React, without React. Before React, JavaScript function is there. JavaScript button is there. You click on the button, then what happened, and the value displaying dynamically. Value is what some data displaying dynamically, right? Some data displaying dynamically, but the problem is in the page, entire DOM will be recreated. Mottham page mottham problem. Entire page will be what? Recreated. That's what if you build application using JavaScript and JavaScript, HTML, JavaScript, CSS, that is a waste project we are calling is in real time. Why? If you build the project using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, when we click on something in the browser, then what happened? Only specific part loading, entire page reloaded. Entire page reloaded. Entire DOM will be recreated. Here DOM you can talk. DOM is a tree of objects, right? Hey, browser not the view. Browser is nothing but tree of objects. Browser means what? Tree of objects. When you change in the small change, entire DOM will be recreated. Entire DOM will be recreated. That's a before React. Before React, in the page, something you change, the data coming, that is like, only that part is changing, entire page is recreated. Entire page will be what? Recreated. Entire page is recreated means what happened, entire DOM will be recreated. Entire DOM మొత్తం మళ్ళీ recreate అవుతుంది. That's what guys, the React is come up with one new feature like, virtual DOM. What the DOM is? Virtual DOM. Hey, here you click on the increment. Only this value should be updated. But H1 tag should not be reloaded, button should not be reloaded, paragraph should not be recreated like that. To overcome this issue, guys, React side, we have the virtual DOM. React side, what DOM is there? DOM means tree of objects. From say 2 minutes, type it. 2 minutes class I press. Virtual DOM is there. Browser side, what DOM is there? Real DOM is there. Browser side, actual DOM is there. But React side also one DOM is there. React side what? One DOM. That is called virtual DOM. Virtual DOM exists at React side. Real DOM exists at what side? Browser side. In React now, I done small modification on my page. I done small modification on what? My page. Initially, React side virtual DOM is there. Browser side real DOM is there. There's a process going. Now I done small modification in my page. Now count becomes 13 to what? 14. 14, 13 to what? 14. Previously, how many virtual DOM? React side what DOM is there? Virtual DOM. Browser side? Real DOM is there. When we click on the increment button, the page updated, right? Page is what? Page updated. Page updated means what? I'm talking about only React side. Assume that you are the real DOM. I'm the virtual DOM. Already I have the virtual DOM. First time, first rendering, and you have the real DOM. Now I done some modification. Previously assume that 14 is there, my virtual DOM. Now I updated with what? 15. Updated what? 15. Previous virtual DOM is there, but now I done the modification, right? What modification of 15, right? Modification of with that 15, new virtual DOM is created at React side. Old applications 14, that virtual DOM is there. Right? When I change it to what? 15, that is again new virtual DOM is created. Then now I have how many virtual DOMs? 2. With 14, previous virtual DOM. With 15, new virtual DOM. 14, previous virtual DOM. Like previous update, new update, new virtual DOM. Server side, how many virtual DOMs we have? How many virtual DOMs there are? 2 virtual DOMs. At server side, React side, sorry. React side, we have the two virtual terms. Why two virtual terms? One virtual term for the previous updates. One virtual term for the new updates. New updates is a 15, old update is a 14. How many virtual terms I have? So React side, how many virtual terms finally? Two virtual terms. Old virtual term for the old updates, new virtual term for the. See, this old virtual term, new virtual term will be compared. New virtual term and old virtual term will be what? Compared. Identified where the changes happen. Previous playing cycle puts or yeah, చేతులు పెట్టుకొని కూర్చొని అవి వెళ్ళిపోయింది సో ఇవ్వలేక the point is what? How many virtual terms are outside? Two. One is the previous virtual term. Previous virtual term with the new modifications, new virtual term. How many virtual terms? Two. So new virtual term, old virtual term is compared. Old virtual term, new virtual term is what? Compared. Identifying where the modifications happen. Identifying what? Where the modifications. It means H1 tag modified, paragraph modified, buttons are modified. What modified? Data where the modifications occur. Where the modification occur. You got it right? React side, how many virtual terms we have? Two. Browser side, real term. Browser side, you have the real term. I have the two virtual terms. Why two virtual terms with me? One is the old updates, one is the new update. Old updates and new updates like two virtual terms. Then identify where the modifications. Where the modification. Identify the modifications, values updated. Identified what? Modification. I sent only modification to the real term. I will send only what? Updated part to the real term. It means what? Your real term completely not updated. Only where the modifications identified, right? Only that modifications updated in the real term. Okay, that modifications are what? Updated on the until the entire DOM is reloaded, only updations are affected. Then I checked what? Previous old view and the new view. Identify the changes. Identified what are changes. Then I am sending only changes to what? Real term. Then entire real term is reloaded, only changes of data. It is called virtual term concept. Without virtual term, what happened if I send the changes? Entire browser is reloading. Entire, the page reloaded. Entire page is specific data now. E-class by now. E-class है ना? Huh? First day class. ये first day. First day Python student ना? .NET student ना? मरिया Hello. Hey, that's it, guys. That is the data. The counter value is what? Copy React side, how many virtual terms? Why two? Old virtual term for the old updates, like existing view. New virtual term for the new view. Like compare the new virtual term with what? Old virtual term. Identify the where the modifications done. Then send only modifications to what? Real term, right? Good. Now React side, how many virtual terms we have? The old virtual term is compared with what? New virtual term. Identifying what? Modification changes. Identifying what? Changes. Comparing the new virtual term with what? New changes to the old one. Identifying what? Changes. The process is called diffing process. The process name is diffing. D-I-F-F-I-N-G. Diffing. The process of comparing the new virtual term with what? Old virtual term. Old virtual term is old view. New virtual term is present, current view, updated view. Identifying what changes, where the modification done. That process, comparison process, and identifying the changes, right? That process is called diffing process. The process is diffing. What's the diffing? The process of comparing the old virtual term with what is diffing? The process of comparing old virtual term with what new virtual term. Identifying what changes. That is called what process? Diffing process. Scaffolding, right? What is scaffolding? So what is the scaffolding is what the process of generating the project folder structure and basic files, that is the scaffold. What is the diffing? Comparing the old virtual DOM with the new virtual DOM, identifying what changes, that is called what? Diffing. Good. And we have the what is reconciliation? Reconciliation, something like that. What the reconciliation means, like we identify the changes, right? Only update the changes on what DOM, real DOM, right? The process of sending the only updated changes to what DOM, real DOM. Identifying the changes is called what? Diffing. Sending only changes to what? Real DOM. The process is called what? Reconciliation. Reconciliation. What the reconciliation? Sending the only modification changes to the real DOM. Changes to what? Real. That is called what? Reconciliation. What is scaffolding? Process of generating the project folders and some files, initial project structure. Generating the project structure by React, it is called scaffolding. What is the diffing? Comparing the old virtual DOM with the identifying what? That is called what process? So the reconciliation? Sending only changes part to the only sending the changes to the PLM, that is called what? Reconciliation. Good. And next one is in the React we are writing what the file is here, .jsx. Data. In React we are writing the file is like .jsx files last now. JSX means what? JavaScript XML. Writing the HTML code inside what? JavaScript. Writing the HTML code inside the JavaScript is called what? JSX. Hey, what is the hooks? Hooks means what? Predefined functions. What is hook? Hook is nothing but a predefined functions. What is the purpose of use state hook? What is the purpose of what hook? Use state. Use state hook will maintain the data even the component is what? Rendered. What is the scaffolding? What is the diffing? What is the reconciliation? What is what? Reconciliation. Good. What is the reconciliation? What is the hook, diffing, and like that? Hey, .jsx. JSX we are writing what code? Writing a HTML code inside what? Writing the HTML code inside the JavaScript, right? HTML code inside the JavaScript. That's JSX. A browser cannot understand the JSX. Who execute this code? Browser, right? Who execute the code? Browser cannot understand the JSX. Browser knows only JavaScript code, JS code. Browser can understand what code? JS. Browser calls name JS. But you are writing the code is what? JSX. You are writing the code is JSX. But ultimately browser require what code? JavaScript code called browser. Then that JSX is translated to the JavaScript code. The JSX is translated to what code? JavaScript code. That is the role of Babel compiler. What is Babel? What is what Babel? What is the role of the Babel means JSX is translated to what JS. Why we should translate to JS means because browser knows only what code is JavaScript. Browser only JavaScript code. JavaScript can understand, browser can understand what code? Browser can understand the JavaScript code, that is called what? JSX is translated to what file? Done by Babel. Got it up? That's it. Hey, what is the purpose of use state hook? To maintain the data, even the component is what? Re-rendered. Maintain the data. Store, okay. Store means normal variables can store the data, right? But this is storing and maintaining. Why means even the value is what? Maintain it can be incremented and it can be what? Decremented, right? Maintain the data. Use state hook is used to maintain the data even the component is what? Re-rendered. That's one. What is the hook? Hook is nothing but Predefined functions we can call it as a hooks. What is scaffolding? Generating the project folder structure and files is called what? Scaffolding, right? So, cool. ఒక ట్రాన్స్లో అట్లనే ఉండు మళ్ళీ మేలుకో మాకు. Topic is what? చదువుకున్నా, no problem. What is the purpose of water? Use state. What is the purpose of water? Hook. Next one is what? Scaffolding. What is scaffolding? Generating the project structure and folder is called scaffolding. Diffing is what? What is virtual DOM? Virtual DOM is present at what side? React side. What is virtual DOM is? The virtual DOM is mainly at React side. React we have two virtual DOMs. One is what? Old updates with old virtual DOM, new updates with what? New virtual DOM. That is called what? Virtual DOM. And what is the DOM? DOM is what? Tree of object. HTML is converted into what? Tree of object. That is called what? DOM, right? Exactly. DOM, virtual DOM, reconciliation. What is the reconciliation? Sending only updated part to the real DOM. That is called reconciliation. What is the Babel? Converting JSX into the JS. JavaScript will convert. Why? Because the browser can understand only what? Browser can understand JavaScript. So what is event handling? What is event handling? Event handling is like, when the event is triggered, execute some logic. That is called event handling. Event means what? Action. Event means what? Action. On-click event. JavaScript we discussed, right? Event is what? Action. When the action is done, we need to execute some logic. That is called event handling. When the action is done, execute some logic. Execute the logic. That is called event handling. What handling but is event handling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 points. That's it. So you got it now? That's it. What is the purpose of use state hook? What is the hook? Scaffolding, diffing. React side, how many DOMs? Virtual DOMs? Why two virtual DOMs means? Because one virtual DOM is the old updates, one virtual DOM with the updates. Then compare the old virtual DOM with what? Yeah. Identifying the changes. The comparison and identifying the changes is called what? Diffing. Sending only updated part to the real DOM, that is called what? Reconciliation, right? Reconciliation. Hey, one last one is like, we have the BOM is there. What is BOM? What is BOM? DOM is there. What is the DOM? Hey, full form how many times I told don't tell the full form, stupid full forms. MVC, model view controller. The model view controller. I asked what is MVC purpose? DOM document object model. The document object model. So DOM and అది ఆన్సర్ ఎట్లా మీకు ఆన్సర్ చెప్పండి ఏం చెప్తారు ఫుల్ ఫామ్ అని చెప్తారు right? What is a bomb? What is the bomb? A bomb is nothing but like bomb browser object mode. These are also tree of objects. Tree of what? Object. DOM means what? Tree of objects. What objects? Tree of objects. Tree of what? Objects. HTML elements, right? Tree of objects of HTML elements. What elements? But is HTML elements. HTML elements are converted into what? Tree of objects. That is called what? DOM. DOM is nothing but HTML elements will be converted into what? A tree of objects. The tree of objects is called what? A DOM. And next one is like BOM. BOM is nothing but like when you got the output guys here, you right click here and you click on what? Inspect. When you click on the inspect here, you are getting the console, right? We are getting the console and we are getting the network. So yes, here we have the multiple options with you. So here you can see elements. It's showing the HTML code. It's showing the layout structure. Console is there showing your output. Sources are there. Getting like complete source code of your file. So again, this is called React. Here you can connect as local host. What project it is? White project. SRC folder. మీరు SRC folder open చేస్తే then app.jsx is there, counter.jsx is there. ఇవన్నీ ఉంటాయి. So next class I'll open these files very frequently. Elements are there like code, what the code we written. So this is called id equal to what? Root. And it is index.html file. What file what is? This is index.html file. This is a console output. This is called sources. And this is called what? Network. What request is sending, what seconds, how many seconds it is taking for that request, 20 milliseconds, something like that. Next one is what performance tab, something like that. We have a this data, right? See guys, this is a console is one feature. Console is one feature. Elements is one feature. Source is one feature. Network is one feature, right? These all are what? Features. Even features are no. These are what? Features. These all objects are JavaScript objects. Are you written the code for these elements, console? No, right? Data displaying, right? Elements are written the code, or it is coming automatically. Yeah. See, browser features are there. What the browser features tell me? Elements, console, source, network, performance, like that. These are browser features. These all the browser features are created in the list of objects. Console of object, elements is one object, sources is one object, network is one object, like tree of objects. One object, a tree of objects are. That is called BOM. HTML tags will be converted into the tree of object, that is called DOM. Browser features are converted into the tree of object, that is called BOM. What are browser features, sir? Elements, console, sources, network. Going for the mobile view, going for the feature next to back and like that. Maintain the history is there, no? These all are what? Browser features. The browser features are created like tree of objects. Browser features are what? Created tree of objects, that is called what? BOM. That wrong guys. Browser object model. BOM full form is what? Browser object model. Browser object model means what? Browser features are objects. DOM is what? Document object model. Document is what document? HTML document. That is called what? DOM versus BOM. What is a DOM? HTML document will be HTML document, tree of objects. That is called what? DOM. BOM is what? Browser objects. Browser object model. It means what? Browser features. Browser features are converted into what? Tree of objects. That is called what? But is BOM. That is called what? DOM under DOM and what? BOM. Got it? Good. You write this example. Take this example. I will give you all the questions you write the answers now. It can answer Raskol. First you write the example right first. Draw the Raskol's answers. You create the three buttons, but I'm giving the the logic for only one button. This is for one button. Initial value can make it as 0. Example. Okay, you write the complete example. How many buttons total? 3. One is the increment, decrement, reset. 3 buttons are. Write the example. ఏ మీరు ఇదే కోడ్ కాపీ చేస్తే పేజ్ చింపా దొబ్బుతా. మీరు 3 బటన్స్ కోడ్ రాయండి దానికి. నేను తర్వాత రాస్తా, ఇంటికి వెళ్ళి రాస్తా. Complete example.
Second example, you're right.
Paid the small example. Random example. Like ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ likes increase. Dislikes ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ dislikes. We have the YouTube like button, dislike button. Like likes maybe 1 lakh, dislikes maybe 50,000, something like that. Likes should be increased. Dislikes. How many guys are liked? How many guys are disliked? Then you can go for reset. Reset means both becomes what? Zero. Likes, dislikes, reset. Without mistake, you write code better. Hmm? Is it symbol? Symbol, rain symbol, diagram. Hmm. Likes, dislikes, likes should be increased, dislikes are there, reset button is there, right? So listen, I'll write an example. Yeah. So here, this is my data. I need to maintain the likes and dislikes, right? How many values you have to maintain? Two values. One is the likes. One is the likes and dislikes. Two values. Two values you need to maintain means how many use state variables? Two. Tell me. So let square bracket. These are like simply likes. Comma. This is like set likes. If the method name starts with lowercase, S small, likes L capital. Set likes equal to what? What variable? Use state. Use state variable of what? Initial value you can make it as a 0. And then first value. Second value. Likes or dislikes. Just you can write the dislikes. Then you can make it as a dislikes. Dislikes. That's it. Two variables you maintain. You write the button like like button. First, if you want to print the data like just you can take the likes equal to square bracket, just you can write what? Print the likes. And dislikes also, if you want to print like just you can write the dislikes. Dislikes equal to just you can write what? Braces, just you can print the variables first. Like the dislikes. One line I printed, something like that. Then you write the buttons. You write the button. What the button name here? Likes. When we click on the button, what event is triggered? On click event is triggered. Just on click event. Then you can write what? Like logics. Like what logics. Like logic execute of them. Then you can go for this one here. Like logic let what? Let like logics equal to write arrow function. That's a variable name. Right side arrow function. Arrow function means what? Put the arrow braces like this. Next one is what guys here? Set likes. Set likes equal to you can write what? Likes plus one and then the same way you can take another button. What the another button here? Dislikes. Something like you write the dislike button. Dislikes. Then here like logica, dislike logica. Dislike logic. Once here you written the wrong is like dislike logic. Once you will tell the answer for the dislike logic. Once you stand maybe the code for the dislike logic. Set dislikes. Dislike. I think plus one right. This what? Plus one, right? Four members are liked. Definitely Shiva is what? Dislike me. Then what? That should be increased by plus one, right? Dislike also plus one. Dislikes increased. Likes also increased. The third one is what? Let what? Reset logics. Reset logic is very simple, right? Or the reset logic here. First you can make the set likes of what? Simply 0 on the set likes of 0. Set dislikes also. That's it. Then you write the button like reset button. Just you can copy this button. This button is what? Reset. Yeah, that is called what? Reset logics. And just you can open the browser. See, likes are 0, dislikes are 0. You click on the likes increased. Its 4 members are liked. 5 members. Then Shiva clicked on what? Dislike. Dislike becomes 1. The 13% today only came, right? Definitely like a dislike a dislike. Then how many? 2. Yes or no? Yes, sir. Side issue is there. Always I do good. Then what? Like a dislike dislike. Dislikes are 3. Dislikes will increase. Got it right? Reset 0. See guys, I'll optimize this code here. You write this code like this. And see, this logic is like too much lengthy logic is there. Only one line of code. One line of code. One line of code means guys, you do one thing. You don't need to write this like one line of code separately like function. You delete this function here. Delete this function also. Delete this. All delete. Here logic is there now. When you click on the likes, what logic executing? Like logic. Here itself you write the arrow function. Arrow function like set likes equal what? Set likes equal to likes plus 1. As I call it. Line multiple lines are there, you can write a separate functions. But multiple lines are there, a single line of code. You can write the one line, you can directly write the arrow function logic here. Previously, you are writing separate function, write the logic and executing. Now, separate function directly writing the arrow function like this. Just you can write what? Set dislikes. Set dislikes equal to, tell me, dislikes plus 1. That's it. Next one is what? Reset logic. Tell me guys, reset logic also write the arrow function like this. But after arrow function, we should write one line and two statements. After arrow function, you should write the two statements means write the braces. But here I written the braces of one statement is there. One statement directly written, but here one statement or two statements are. Then what? Set likes of what? 0. Set likes of what? 0, comma. Next one is what? Set dislikes of what? 0. That's it. Like 0, set like 0. That's all. If you want to execute this code, like by default, you can make it as a likes and dislikes are what? 10 and 10. And see, likes are working up, dislikes are working up, the reset is working up. Yes. You're writing a logic like multiple lines, single line up. All of you take this code. One line logic you write. First you write the multiple lines logic, then you write the one line logic. Next you write a cricket score example. +1, +2, +3, +4, +5, +6. Your score. Initial score is how much? 0. Okay, how many buttons you have to create? 6 buttons. +1, maybe +1. +1, +2, +3, +4, +5, +6. How many buttons? 6 buttons create. How many buttons? 6 buttons. 6 buttons you create. Your score you can print it. If I click on the 1 now, then it becomes what? 1. Again, if I click on the 5, total score becomes how much? 6. Like that, your we can say what? Total score. Okay, write one more example. తర్వాత ఆయన pick తీసుకుందాం. Take the picks. Right later. Okay, one more example you write like one button you can write like add apple. One button like add apple button create చేయండి. one button like eat apple. Reset. So how many buttons? Add apple, eat apple, reset. Initially, you should get the message that initially you should get what message, but the message like 0 apples, right? Initially, no apples, no apples. Apples are not available. Apples are what? Not available. Please wait. Please wait. Apples are not available. Please wait. Initial message like that. If I click on the add apple, click on what? అప్పుడే అదే మెసేజ్ డిస్ప్లే అవ్వాలి. This is called what message? Initial message. When we click on add apple, when we click on what? Add apple. When we click on the add apple, give the message. Hey, hey, just you can give the message that 2 apples, 2 times you clicked. 2 apples are what? Available. When we click on the add apple, two times you clicked, 2 apples are available. When we click on what? Eat apple. 1 time we clicked on eat apple. Then what? 1 apple is available. When you click on add apple, how many times? 2 items. 2 times click చేశారు. Then 2 apples are available like that. When you click on the eat apple, means what happened here? One, like that should be reduced. Again he clicked on the message, then what happened? First click. ఒకసారి క్లిక్ చేసినప్పుడు hey, 1 apple is what? Available. Because out of 2, 1 he eaten. He's done the eating of 1. Second one is what? One more time he clicked on what? Button. Then what message you should get? Apples are not available, please wait. Understood, right? That's it. I will complete change.